Can you pay your taxes with the EIDL loan? Stay tuned to find out. But first, you know what time it is? It's time to smash that like button. Hell yeah. And also, if you're new here, welcome. Thank you for watching. Please hit that subscribe button to get constant updates about everything going on right now in terms of the stimulus package. Also, during this time, the past few months, I'm sure have been very difficult for many people. It's been difficult for people around me. So I think it'd be good to share some wins that you've had during this time. Please do so in the comments below. For me, one of my big wins is that I've got to spend a lot of time with my family since I'm working from home mostly now. Like at first I thought it would be, I don't like working from home because that boundary between work and home life gets very blurry. But it's actually been a really good thing. I've been spending a lot of time with my family and I'm very grateful for that. So please share your wins with me in the comments section below. Also, if you have any video requests that you have, please share that too. And I might make a video based on what you need. All right, so to talk about taxes, there are a few types of taxes that I'm gonna go over. There's payroll tax, sales tax, and income tax. And I'll go over each of these and let you know whether or not I think that you can pay these taxes with your EIDL loan. So the first thing I'm gonna talk about is payroll tax. Payroll tax is Social Security and Medicare taxes. That's like the employer portion, right? If you have employees, you have the employer portion of those taxes and the employee portion that the employee pays. And then there's also the taxes that you withhold from your employees' paychecks. Now, because the taxes you withhold are from your employees' paychecks, that means that technically your employees are paying for those taxes, not you. So I don't think you should be using the EIDL loans to pay for those taxes because those are paid by your employees anyway. So I think the only thing that you can really use your EIDL loan for in terms of payroll tax is the employer portion of those taxes. And keep in mind, in the CARES Act and the Families First Coronavirus Relief Act, Congress has made some payroll tax incentives for employers, for employees that have been affected by COVID in some way. Employers, if they continue to pay them, they get tax credits, or there's also, tax deferments for these payroll taxes. So keep in mind those things are out there as well. Also, I wanted to explain briefly on payroll tax is that the IRS takes these taxes very seriously. So you have employees and you're withholding taxes from them, the IRS expects you to pay them immediately. The penalties are high, the stakes are high, because you're basically messing with other people's taxes. It's not your own tax. You are basically the middleman between your employees and the IRS. So if you withhold taxes from your employees and then you spend it and then you don't pay the IRS, they take that really seriously. This is one of the rare situations where they will send a revenue officer to your business. They'll call you, they'll knock your door, they'll make sure that they collect on that as soon as possible. Now, usually they're really nice and they'll work with you like payment plan and stuff, but they really want that money because you just don't want to mess with this. So that brings me to my next point. If you are already behind on payroll taxes and you get the EIDL loan, I don't think that you can pay it off with your EIDL loan. Think of it as the long-term debt rule that's in place for the EIDL loan, where you can't refinance long-term debt. Same thing here. This is debt that you incurred before the disaster. You shouldn't be using the disaster funds to pay it off. Even though on the loan contract it says that you can use the loan to pay off federal obligations, but the way that I interpret that is that you can make your usual payments toward your back taxes, towards your back payroll taxes, but you can't just use it to pay it off completely. That's basically the gist of it for payroll tax. Next is sales tax. Sales tax is tax that you pay to the city, county, and state, usually for products that you sell, and also for short-term rentals like cars and real property. So if you have a rental property and you have like somebody living there for like a year at a time, that's considered a long-term rental. That's a normal rental property that in the traditional sense that you would imagine. But a short-term rental is more like Airbnb and VRBO stuff, right? most cities and counties and states will force you to pay sales tax on those short-term rentals. So what you do is you basically pass the cost on to your customer. Just like with selling products, like if you buy like a bag of popcorn at the movie theater, it's like $10 plus sales tax. So you're paying for the sales tax. Well, you as a business owner basically collects the sales tax from your customers and remit it to the state and local governments. Kind of like payroll tax. So since your customer is paying for sales tax, I don't think they should be using the idle loan to pay for any sales tax, especially if you are behind on sales tax. Same thing with payroll tax, right? So it's basically you're passing the costs on to your customer. Your customer is paying sales tax, and you are just the middleman between your customer and the state and local government. The last common type of tax I'm going to talk about is income tax. I mean, you all know about income tax. That's what most people talk about when they say taxes. When they owe taxes or they got to file taxes, they're talking about income tax. And there's been some debate going around about whether or not you can use the idle loan to pay for income taxes. And I got to kind of break it down into more detail in order to explain to you why I think the way I do. So if you have a business, which you have to have in order to qualify for the idle loan, you either have a sole proprietor, an LLC, a partnership, an S Corp, or a C Corp. 5 different things, right? The C Corp here, C Corps are the only entities that pay their own business income tax. The rest don't pay their own business taxes. Their income flows to your personal taxes, and you pay those taxes personally, if that makes sense. That means that the idle loan shouldn't be used to pay your personal taxes. Basically, if your business is paying your personal taxes, you're taking a distribution from your business to pay those personal taxes. And normally, that's okay. That's okay to do. Like businesses do it all the time. They give their owners a tax distribution to pay for their taxes. As you know from the idle loan contracts, any funds from the idle loan cannot be used for owner distributions. That's what it says in the contract. Now this gets a little more messy because in the SBA Disaster Relief Standard Operating Procedure, the SOP, in there it does say that you can take distributions as long as they're ordinary and essential. So basically they're trying to limit it a little so you don't take a massive balloon distribution and run off to Haiti or something. Wherever you want to go, I don't care. So basically, taking a distribution, I would err more on the side of it's not allowed, but you can still take distributions from your ordinary revenue that you generate from your business, just not using the idle loan. And that also means you can't pay your personal income taxes with your idle loan. So what can you do? You can use your idle loan to pay for your normal operating expenses, right? You pay for your normal operating expenses. That means you save that money. Basically, you're not paying that with the revenue you generated, you paid it with your idle loan. So now you should have extra cash left over from the revenue that you generated. Then you can distribute that money to yourself and pay your taxes or do whatever the hell you want after you distribute it for yourself. That's the way to get around the no distributions rule with your idle funds. So let me recap real quick. You use your idle loan to pay for your expenses, your normal operating expenses. Then, as you generate revenue, you don't have to use your revenue money to pay for those expenses. So now you have quote unquote extra revenue money. Then you can use that extra revenue money to distribute to yourself, to pay for your taxes, to pay your mortgage, your car, whatever the hell you want to do with that. That's how you get around that. And that's why it's important to have the idle funds in a separate checking account, unless you're really good with accounting and bookkeeping. It just keeps everything separate. It makes it clear. There's no ambiguity there if the SBA decides to audit you or review your documents. So everything I just explained there is for the sole proprietor, single member LLCs, multi-member LLCs, partnerships, and S corporations. All those things are taxed on the personal level. Now for a C corporation, you're actually paying business income taxes every quarter. It's not personal taxes, it's completely separate, completely separate. You have your own business income tax. can you use the idle loans to pay for those business income taxes? My gut tells me that you are more likely allowed to pay your business income taxes with a C corporation than with any other entity. I would still recommend you just use it to pay for your operating expenses and then using your extra revenue money to pay for your income taxes. But because the taxes are still within the confines of the business, it is more allowable in my opinion. And so I still don't have I don't really have a definitive answer on that. My gut still tells me no, but it's more acceptable, if that makes sense. Because it's not really, I wouldn't consider it like an operating expense. It's a tax. It's sure you have to pay it no matter what, but it's not technically an operating expense. So my gut tells me no, still don't use your idle funds directly to pay for it. But if you did, it might be more allowable. It might have a little more grace with the SBA if they audited you. That's all I got for today. Thanks for joining me. Thanks so much. I appreciate all your support. Please smash that like button, and also please hit that subscribe button if you're new here. I'll see you tomorrow. Stay safe. Take care.